had participated in a 10K race over the weekend on March 31st last Sunday, and we are here to discuss some of the performance metrics and see where it is that we have done good and where it is that we could have improved. And if you might recall, about a year back I had run the 10K at Bengaluru, the TCS World 10K, and finished around 1 hour 33 minutes, 32 minutes. And this race last Sunday I finished exactly the same time. So it's almost been a year, and the timing has been like kind of the same. But the races are very different races. Like one was in Bengaluru, which was quite cool and very early in the morning, and this race was in Chennai, close to summer, quite relatively quite hot, and the race start was delayed to a little after 6:30, and so the sun came up and it became quite hot, and the traffic regulation and things like that were quite different. The hydration points, everything were quite different. And also the one other important factor I think was the fact that for some reason the previous night I was just not able to fall asleep. I was in bed earlier than usual, much earlier than usual, anticipating the need to wake up quite early. However, I just could not fall asleep for whatever reason, and I couldn't until about 1 hour before the time that I had to wake up. So before the race I had just about 1 hour of sleep, so that might have been an important factor. But again, it sounds like excuses. But all that aside, let's look at the performance metrics here and see what we have done okay and where is it that we can improve. So if I look away from the screen, then I'm looking at the laptop and looking at the charts and the graphs. So let's get started there. Here is the route map. All this metrics data I'm getting from my smartwatch. So if you remember, we are always talking about using devices available to us in our quest to get better at running or whatever it is, athletics and whatever sports, and even health wise. We could use these devices such as the smartphone, the heart rate monitor, the lactate meter, things like that. So here we are extensively using the smartwatch and the reports that are coming from the smartwatch. I am using a Samsung Watch 6 Pro, smartwatch 6 Pro. I'm sure any of the running watches like Garmin and all can provide this too. But with the available metrics, let's take a look at what was provided to us from Samsung smartwatch. This was the map. It kind of starts here. This is the starting point. You just go here. This is a loop, that's 1 kilometer. Then run around to here, which is the U-turn point. That was 1.5 kilometers. Turn around again 1.5 kilometers, and then the 1 kilometer back here. That makes it 5 kilometers. And then you got to do it twice. So that becomes 10 kilometers. So that was the route. And the first thing that we can take a look is the lap and the time for each lap. This is by kilometer, and if you take a look at that, pretty consistent, slight bit of increase as a pattern throughout, and then the real increase really happens during the 8th and 9th kilometers. And I need to get from that, what I learned is like I need to get a little stronger, and I need to resume strength training and make sure that I don't feel kind of weak at towards the end of the race. And also I need to do more long distance, which is distances which are longer than 10 kilometers, so that 10 kilometers does not feel very tiring at the very end. So these are some of the lessons that I am learning from these metrics. So they are lap times. By lap they mean by kilometer. And the other thing that I wanted to say is like my smartwatch showed 10.20 as the total distance, and I had Strava on too, and my phone mobile with me, and that showed a total distance of 10.4 kilometers. So there is the distance was a little more than 10 kilometers, but again, that I don't think that would have played a major decrease in time if it was exactly 10 kilometers. Okay, so on to some of the other metrics that are available here. Let us see, I will take a look at that later. Running, yeah, so it was 1:32:38 according to this, according to the smartwatch, and according to the race statistics provided by the organizers. That was just a little over 1 hour and 32 minutes was what was the official time. And yeah, the average heart rate was 144 beats per minute, and that kind of is consistent with my training, where when I'm doing my tempo runs, it's 150 to 160. So it's kind of consistent. That is the range. I could have run a little bit faster than that, I think, but my tempo runs on the treadmill during practice, what I do is like 30 minutes. And here in this case I had to run 1 hour, so I could have pushed it up just a little bit more, I think. But well, we'll try that in the 10k race that's coming up on the end of this month, April 28th, at Bengaluru. So I hope to do better than this at Bengaluru. Between 1 hour 15 minutes to 1 hour 30 minutes is what my goal pace is going to be. Let's see what we need to do to achieve that. Then the other thing that is shown here is the cadence. This needs to improve for me. This is not poor, but it's fair, meaning it's more for beginners, and I can't call myself a beginner runner, but I can't call myself a pro either, because the past 3 to 4 to 5 months I've been training consistently, and this is the first race that I've participated in after last year's 10k Bengaluru. So I need to do things specifically to increase my running cadence, move towards 180. Again, 180 is not like a gold standard, because the strides per minute, steps per minute depends upon the height and weight, and the way that the body is, with the upper body length versus the leg length, and the thighs length versus tibia. All these ratios matter when it comes to how a person runs. But generally speaking, 152 SPM is okay. But if it improves beyond, to be something higher than that, that will help quite a bit. So maybe 160. I have to see what are the things that I need to do to increase the cadence. So distance again here is like, this is according to the smartwatch, 10.21, and then this is the pace versus the heart rate, and I don't see anything that's striking out at me. This last spike here, it starts and it's fairly consistent, the heart rate. There is a little bit of a spike here, I don't know if that was going around traffic or whatever. And at the very end I was actually sprinting for about 1/10 of a kilometer or whatever. It was not a very huge distance, but I was trying to sprint towards the finish to try to save some time. And obviously then my heart rate spike is there as well. So that's pretty understandable. Other than that, there isn't anything that's like looking completely out of whack here. This was the lap timing that we had looked at. Let's look at this. Here is the VO2 max, minus 34.4 it says, and it's fair and it needs to improve. I've been training specifically for cardio just the past 3, 4, 5 months, and VO2 max takes a long time and a lot of effort to improve. So this is fair, and I'm trying to I'm definitely going to try to improve upon that more. Percent of VO2 max is not bad. Average 62% kind of coincides with my average heart rate. I could have done a little bit better, I think, and meaning I could have pushed myself a little bit more. That's what I'm going to try to do at the 10k at Bengaluru later this month. And it's fairly consistent, again pretty much consistent with the heart rate that we had seen before. It's almost exactly the same graph, and right here you also see the heart rate zones. From the very start it kind of goes up. There's a bit of a spike here. I think I've gone around traffic like I mentioned before, and towards the end I had sprinted, and so you can see the increase in heart rate as well. So my recovery takes about 2 minutes, 2 minutes to come down from 170 to about 150. That's okay. They've shown that as part of the statistics. That's not bad as far as I'm concerned. So what are the other things that are here as far as the metrics are concerned? Well, this one here, asymmetry is great, meaning like on both sides. I'm not lingering on one side, one of my feet more than the other, far more than the other, and my gait is okay. So that's the asymmetry, and it says it's great. Contact time needs to improve. This goes along with cadence as well. So if I increase my cadence, my contact time is going to improve as well. Meaning my feet are going to be less on the ground, more in the air. That's what we want. And flight time, according to this, is good, but according to the cadence and according to the contact time, it needs to kind of improve. Regularity is the consistency of my body movements, and there is not too much of a variation from the beginning to the end, although the lap time by kilometer basically says that the 8th and 9th I did find it difficult, and according to how I felt at that time, I did find it a little difficult, and like I said, I need to do more longer distances, long slow distances which are longer than 10 kilometers, like maybe 12-15 kilometer runs over the weekend once a week, and and also I need to improve upon my strength by doing more strength, resuming my strength training. But the regularity here is great, so that's fine. The vertical, so I'm bouncing up and down a little bit more than necessary, I think. So that has to do with my cadence as well. So everything, my running form, I need to check and make sure that I'm doing whatever changes are required there. My stiffness can improve, it says, meaning my running form again. I think it all is a package, isn't it? My cadence, my running form, probably slouching a little bit more, need to make my posture a little bit more erect, and that will then improve my strides per minute, my cadence, also my contact time on the ground, and will improve my vertical because I'm bouncing too much up and down according to the metrics provided here, and my stiffness, which basically is my running form. All this I think is like one package, and one will help the other. Okay, so this is the statistics provided by the race organization, and as you can see, according to them, 1:32 was the net time. Of course, gun time is when the race starts and then we are in a queue and we are all running to get to the start. So 1:32:35. I thought it was a little bit less than that, but again, according to the smartwatch, the distance was 10.2, and according to Strava, it was 10.4. So anyway, it was a little more than 10 kilometers. There would be a marginal improvement if you correct for that distance, I think, but it would not get inside 1:30, I don't think, unless I do some improvements, unless I train and make some improvements in feet, such as cadence and things like that. Okay, so this again is it's talking about, this is the 2.5 kilometers is where the turning point was, and then into 2 becomes 5 kilometers, and then you do it another time is the turning point again at 7.5, and then the finish at 10 kilometers, and this is what it is showing. So it's pretty much like what we had looked at before, and using these statistics, I think it gives us a lot of scope to make improvements. Let us look at some of the list of things that I had made a note of that I thought needed to be worked upon to get some improvements. One was I was not able to sleep more than an hour or so the previous night. We talked about that. Continue to improve upon the aerobic base. I'm going to be doing that. Continue to increase my VO2 max, as I'm always doing. I'm going to be doing that either. In addition to that, I'm going to improve upon my running economy. We just talked about that. We talked about the strides per minute. We talked about contact time. We talked about bouncing up and down, and also the running form. So that all this will contribute towards my running economy. I also need to do hills to improve, which are usually very helpful to improve running economy. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Goal-paced workouts. My tempo runs / threshold runs are at around 6.5 kilometers per hour, and that's what my average was throughout this race. So if I need to get to 1 hour 20 minutes or 1 hour 15 minutes, I need to go upwards of 7 kilometers per hour. So 7.1, 7.2, 7.4, maybe 7.5 kilometers per hour. If I can do tempo runs for 20 minutes to 30 minutes and do that twice, then I think I might be able to get closer to one running inside 1 hour and 30 minutes and then getting closer to 1 hour 15 minutes. So that's going to be my that's going to be my goal pace for my threshold / tempo runs between now and run coming up at the end of the month. So I'm thinking of separating the way that I used to do is like aerobic base, and then follow that up for 45 minutes, follow that up with half an hour of threshold / tempo run. And what I'm thinking of doing is separating them on 2 consecutive days. One day is the aerobic base, I run for 1 hour or a little more than that, and then there is warm up and cool down as well. The threshold runs / tempo runs, then I would like to go up to goal pace, which is upwards of 7 kilometers per hour and inside 7.5 kilometers per hour. I think that's manageable for me between now and the end of this month. And then make that into 2. So I run for 20 minutes to half an hour, take a bit of a brief rest, and then repeat that again for another half an hour would be the workout for the day. And I'm thinking to do these on the day after the aerobic base runs. Add hill workouts, we just talked about. There is no hill very near to me, but then the Chennai Outer Ring Road is like very very close by from here, about 2 to 3 minutes by drive. And there is a bridge right as I leave the area, and I'm going to use those for bridge workouts perhaps once a week, running up the bridge and running down the bridge as well. Add an LSD long slow distance day. We talked about that, which needs to be more than 10 kilometers so that I get used to running 10 kilometers, because the 8th and 9th kilometer, as you could see, I was finding it a little difficult. So maybe 12 kilometers, 15 kilometers once a week, once every 2 weeks. I'm going to try to do that. Resume strength training. My strength training basically means that I'm going to do heavy squats, deadlifts, presses and bench press. Maybe add power cleans a little later on, but it's been so long, many years since I've done strength training, so I need to resume that and do that on a regular basis as well. Plyometrics, this will help with getting more bouncy, and will help with bouncy not in the sense that I would bounce up and down, but then push off the ground. And so I'm going to do some box jumps, I'm going to do some skipping, I'm going to be running downhill, meaning down the bridge, and also bounding up the steps a little bit. So all this should help me, I think. Improve running cadence, we talked about that extensively earlier. So these are the list of things that I thought I could do to improve upon my time, to keep it inside 1 hour 30 minutes and also to perhaps get closer to 1 hour 15 minutes. And I'm going to try to do all of these things, or as much of these things, before the 10K run scheduled at Bengaluru later this month, April 28th. So if you guys had any things to suggest that I could do, please feel free to comment freely, and whatever else, anything else that you would like to comment on is most welcome. So talk to you guys later, talk to you guys soon. Bye. Please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notification whenever new videos are added. If you do find the content helpful, please like the video. That would be a great encouragement for us to put out more videos. Here are more similar content for you to check out. Thank you.